Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're continuing to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, chapter 17. Would anyone like to say what we read yesterday? Auntie Rashmi?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. बोलना चाहेंगे कल क्या पढ़े हम?
ये कहा था कि परमेश्वर कर्म के अनुसार हमें दुख और सुख देते हैं, न कि हमसे प्रभावित। वो सबके लिए एक जैसे हैं, सबके लिए उनका एक ही व्यवहार है, लेकिन जो सुख दुख होते हैं वो कृष्ण परमात्मा के दिए हुए नहीं है, हमारे कर्मों के हैं। हमारे शुभ और अशुभ भौतिक शक्ति के द्वारा दिए गए हैं, और वो भौतिक शक्ति है वो परमात्मा के ही नियंत्रण में होके और हमको वो सुख दुख हमारे शुभ और अशुभ कर्मों के द्वारा देती है, के वजह से देती है। और उसी की वजह से हम लोग लाभ हमको और हानि, और हम इस दुनिया से बंधन में चलते हैं और जन्म मृत्यु की सृष्टि करते हुए अपना जीवन यापन करते हैं। परिणाम ये होता है कि सुख दुख के कर्मों के कारण, और जैसे कि एक न्यायमूर्ति है, जज है, वो हम सबके लिए एक जैसा निर्णय करता है। जिसके जिसके जैसे कर्म है, जैसे जैसे उनके अशुभ कर्मों के कारण जो दंड दिया जाता है, जज भी वैसे ही करता है। उसी प्रकार भगवान भी अपने अ, सबके लिए न्यूट्रल है। उन्होंने कभी भी वो हमसे अटैचमेंट या किसी विशेष व्यक्ति से ऐसे नहीं करते हैं। जैसे कि सूर्य का प्रकाश है, और जैसे कि भंवरा भी सुख और दुख देखता है कमल में रात में रह के, और सुबह जब कमल बंद हो जाता है तो उसको जो उससे दुख प्राप्त होता है, वो भी उसके मोह के वजह से ही होता है कि वो कमल में बैठ जाता है रात के समय और कमल बंद हो जाता है। तो जैसे कि अ, माता है या बच्चे हैं, जो बच्चे अपने पिता के करीब रहते हैं, कभी रहते हैं, उनकी सेवा करते हैं, तो पता वो पिता उनको उस पुत्र को ज्यादा प्यार करता है। उसी प्रकार भगवान भी है। और यदि हम अपने कर्मों से ये मुक्ति चाहते हैं या कुछ चाहते हैं, तो हमको क्षमा प्रार्थी होना चाहिए, शरणागत होना चाहिए। तब हम अपने पूर्व कर्म के और सुख दुखों से निजात पा सकते हैं। किंतु तो श्री सुखदेव गोस्वामी ने कहा, राजा परीक्षित, शिव और पार्वती भी सबके ऊपर, चित्रकेतु पर बहुत प्रसन्न थे, लेकिन उनको उनको अपने पास बुलाना था, अपने प्लेनेट पर। इस कारण उन्होंने उसके वो उनको पता था कि ये बहुत अच्छा भक्त है, और बिल्कुल भौतिक को छोड़ के वो स्पिरिचुअल हो गया है पूरी तरह से। लेकिन क्योंकि उनको अपने पास बुलाना था, इस कारण उनके साथ शिव पार्वती माता ने उनको इस कारण श्राप दिया कि उनको अपने पास उनको बुलाना था। उसका यही एक कारण था।
थैंक यू। फिर कल हम सुने थे कि फिर जब चित्रकेतु जाते हैं उसके बाद शिव भगवान पार्वती जी से कह रहे
तब
हैं।
हाँ,
तो अब शिव भगवान पार्वती जी से जो भक्त है उनके भक्त के गुड क्वालिटीज बता रहे हैं
बता रहे। हाँ,
कि जो भगवान के भक्त है वो कैसे डिवोशनल सर्विस में करते हैं, भक्ति करते हैं, तो उन्हें कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है फिर वो किधर जाए, नरक जाए, स्वर्ग जाते हैं। उन्हें ब्राह्मण में समर्पण करने की कोई इच्छा नहीं है, वो उनको खाली भक्ति चाहिए।
हाँ, उनको केवल भक्ति चाहिए।
भक्ति।
और
तो फिर
और
हाँ,
हाँ,
और क्या?
और हर भक्त के साथ उनके व्यक्तिगत पर्सनल रिलेशंस हैं,
हाँ,
भगवान और
पर्सनल
भक्त के।
रिलेशन। हाँ, पर्सनल। ठीक है, थैंक यू सो मच। तो फिर
Yeah,
अभी
Hare
आज का
Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा।
Yeah, actually, I have one doubt. Like Chitraketu, he was a pure devotee, but still, why when he was like roaming around the place where Shivji and Parvati ji were living, so
Yeah.
why he left upon them? Why he left upon them when
So,
Parvati ji was on the lap of Shivaji?
so we read the other
Because he
day.
was devotee, so he has like
Yeah.
yeah,
So
no
we read
not any
this.
consideration
Yeah. So
about
we
these
read
all.
about this. We read
Mm,
about this in day before yesterday. We
mm.
read, and as Rashmi just now gave one of the
Just
reasons
या कि
that
devotee को कोई ये
Krishna,
नहीं रहता है. हाँ,
yeah, because Krishna, we read this. Maybe you missed that class.
yeah, maybe
So
maybe.
because Krishna wanted him to come back to him soon.
Oh, okay,
So he
okay.
arranged that he gets cursed, next birth is demon, and then after that come back to the spiritual
Okay,
world,
okay, okay.
as Auntie
Okay,
Rashmi said.
okay.
Another reason was that Chitraketu did
Uh-huh.
not want anybody else to offend Lord Shiva, because what great personalities
Oh,
do, common man
yes,
follow.
yes.
So Chitraketu Maharaj did not want any common man to offend Lord
Mm,
Shiva.
mm.
So that's the reason. And
Okay,
another
okay.
third reason was we saw that Parvati Devi was
Mm-hmm.
saying that there was a little pride in Chitraketu.
Mm-hmm.
So to take away that even little, very subtle tinge of pride,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So
Mm. So yeah,
because of
he
that,
must be pure before go to Godhead, right?
yeah. So even if
Oh.
there is subtle little bit also, that can be removed soon, immediately, and then he
Mm-hmm.
can go back to Godhead. So it was Krishna's arrangement.
Yes, yes, yes. Now I understood. But
Yeah.
like if somebody have some like curse or some problem or maybe some pride, so it means these all are arranged by Krishna. If he is devotee, like not I'm not common man. If he is pure devotee or sant, then if he has some like impurities, then
Mm.
it means it is arranged by Krishna for him.
So it depends.
It
Again, it would
depends.
depend on the individual, and it will depend on the circumstance. In this situation, Krishna wants to bring him soon
Uh-huh. Okay, okay.
to the spiritual
Okay,
world, you know.
okay, okay.
So
Thank you.
it would depend then. Yeah.
Very nice. Yes, yes.
So
Thank you. Yeah,
thank
हम्म,
you. Thank
thank
और
you.
ये भी कहा ना कि पार्वती माता शक्तिमान है, लेकिन वो शिव के कहने पर वो ये अपनी शक्ति प्रदर्शित करती है। दुर्गा माता या कुछ भी, वो बहिरंगा शक्ति है परमात्मा की।
हाँ, बहिरंगा शक्ति, हाँ, कृष्णा के ऑर्डर फॉलो करती है।
हाँ, वो प्रभु के ये
कृष्णा
कहने
कहते
शिव।
हैं।
हाँ,
हाँ, that's
और
right.
और ये भी आगे कहा ना, हरिदास का भी एग्जाम्पल दिया।
हाँ,
जैसे अभी इन्होंने दिया ना कि भाई भक्त भी है, और यदि वो दुख भी पा रहा है, जैसे अभी ने कहा, राइट।
हाँ, टॉलरेंट। तो
रत्ना ने कहा ना अभी कि भक्त है वो भगवान का, फिर भी वो दुख पा रहा है, राइट।
हाँ, तो
तो
कभी
हरिदास भी तो भगवान के दुख भक्त थे, फिर
हाँ,
उनको
तो कभी
कितना
कभी कृष्णा
भी।
वो
हाँ,
भक्त की क्वालिटी
परीक्षा
उभारने
क्वालिटी।
के लिए, जैसे
हाँ,
पूरी
उनको और
संसार,
करीब लाने के लिए अपने पास, और करीब लाने के लिए।
एक होता
और
है
वो
और करीब
सच्चा
लाने
भक्त
के
है।
लिए।
हाँ,
हाँ, एक होता है और करीब लाने के लिए, और एक है कि कृष्णा को पूरे संसार को दिखाना है कि उनके ये जो भक्त है वो कितने
हाँ,
ग्लोरियस है, कितना ग्लोरियस है, कि इतना उनको सहना पड़ा तो भी
फिर
वो हरि नाम नहीं छोड़े। और
छोड़ेंगे।
इनफैक्ट
हाँ,
और वो इनफैक्ट क्षमा मांग रहे हैं कि प्रभु इनको क्षमा कर दो जो मुझे
करेक्ट,
इतना मार रहे हैं। तो कृष्णा
हाँ,
अपने भक्त का ग्लोरी उनको अच्छा लगता है कि पूरा संसार उनका देखे कि उनके डिवोटी कितने ग्लोरियस हैं।
क्या हम्बल हैं और कितने, हाँ,
Yeah, yes. So,
हरे कृष्ण।
so Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So we'll start today's verse. Aviveka Krita Pumso.
अविवेक
अविवेक
पुंसो
Hi Artha Bheda Ivatmani.
हि अर्थभेदः इवात्मनि
Guna Dosha Vikalpascha.
गुणदोषविकल्पश्च
Vid Eva Srajivat Kritaha.
भित् एव सृजीत विकृतः.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. As one mistakenly considers a flower garland to be a snake or experiences happiness and distress in a dream, so in the material world, by a lack of careful consideration, we differentiate between happiness and distress, considering one good and the other bad. The Lord Shiva is continuing to speak to Pārvatī Devi. The happiness and distress of the material world of duality are both mistaken ideas. So Lord Shiva is saying happiness and distress. We want happiness, we don't want distress. But actually, it's our illusion. We are thinking happiness is good and distress is bad. Actually, everything in the material world is bad. Why? Because it's still in the material world. It's not coming to our real position of being spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. So Prabhupada in the purport is mentioning in the Caitaniya Caritamita Antya 4176, it is said, Dvete Bhadra Bhadra Jnana Sabha Manodharma, E Bhala E Manda, E Sabha Brahma. The distinctions between happiness and distress in the material world of duality are simply mental concoctions, for the so-called happiness and distress are actually one and the same. They are like the happiness and distress in dreams. A sleeping man creates his happiness and distress by dreaming, although actually they have no existence. So the first example Prabhupada is giving is in the dream. Sometimes in the dream we are happy, sometimes in the dream we are sad. But as soon as we wake up, we don't even remember the dream. It's gone, it's finished. You know, in the moment in the dream, we are sometimes very, very scared. Maybe if it's a nightmare, suffering too much. Sometimes in the dream, very, very happy. But as soon as we wake up, whatever we experienced is not there anymore. The other example given in this verse is that a flower garland is originally very nice, but by mistake, for want of mature knowledge, one may consider it a snake. In this connection, there is a statement by Prabodhananda Saraswati, Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. Everyone in this material world is distressed by miserable conditions. But Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati says that this world is full of happiness. How is this possible? He answers, Yat karunaya kataksha vaibhava vatam tam gauram eva stumaha. A devotee accepts the distress of this material world as happiness only due to the causeless mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Lord Shiva is saying there is a beautiful flower garland, but one may mistaken it that it's a snake because one may not know what is this flower garland. One may think it's a snake. So Srila Prabhupada is quoting Prabodhananda Saraswati. Prabodhananda Saraswati is saying for a devotee, the devotee, this world is full of happiness. Krishna is saying this world is dukhalayam ashasvatam, temporary world of distress. But for a devotee is full of happiness. So how is this? Then by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. By his personal behavior, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed that he was never distressed, but always happy in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. One should follow in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and engage constantly in chanting the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then he will never feel the distresses of the world of duality. In any condition of life, one will be happy if he chants the holy name of the Lord. So, this is the position of the devotee. The devotee, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, is always chanting. So, he is always happy. Now, just now we were speaking example of Haridas Thakur. Imagine being whipped by beaten in 22 marketplaces, so much suffering. Any ordinary person would be crying or even be dead. So much distress. But Haridas Thakur, he was just, he's still continuing to chant Hare Krishna. He is not disturbed. He is in fact asking forgiveness for the people who are beating him. In dreams, we sometimes enjoy eating sweet rice and sometimes suffer, as if one of our beloved family members had died. Because the same mind and body exist in the same material world of duality, when we are awake, the so-called happiness and distress of this world are no better than the false superficial happiness of the dreams. So as we say, in the night is the night dream, in the day is the daydream. Night dreams are shorter, so we forget easier. But daydreams are longer, so we remember them. But once we give up this body, it's all going to be forgotten. Whatever made us happy, whatever made us sad, is all going to be forgotten as soon as we change the body at death. So the mind is the via medium in both dreams and wakefulness, and everything created by the mind in terms of sankalpa and vikalpa, acceptance and rejection, is called manodharma, or mental concoction. Manodharma, that the mind is making up all these things. Mind is telling us, hey, change the situation. This is not a good situation. If you change the situation, you will be happy. So that is rejection. Then the mind says, oh, this is a good situation. The situation should not change. As long as this situation exists, then you will be happy. But it's all by the mind. Once we give up the body, everything is gone, finished. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is Shivji is telling Parvati Mata, right?
Yeah. Shivji is telling Pārvatī Devi. Yeah. That's right. Vasudeve Bhagavati
Vasudeve Bhagavati
Bhaktim Udvahatam Nirnam
Bhaktim Uddhatam Nrinam
Jnana Vairagya Viryanam
Jnana Vairagya Viryanam
Nahi Kaschit Vyapashrayah.
Nahi Kaschit Vyapashayah.
Persons engaged in devotional service to Lord Vasudev, Krishna, have naturally perfect knowledge and detachment from this material world. Therefore, such devotees are not interested in the so-called happiness or so-called distress of this world. So, Vasudeva Bhagavati, devotional service to Lord Vasudev. Naturally, they have perfect knowledge and detachment from the world. So, if we actually want to get detached from the world, we have to engage in devotional service. We actually want knowledge, then we have to perfect knowledge. We have to engage in devotional service. Here is the distinction between a devotee and a philosopher who speculates on the subject matter of transcendence. A devotee does not need to cultivate knowledge to understand the falsity or temporary existence of this material world. Because of his unalloyed devotion to Vasudeva, this knowledge and detachment are automatically manifested in his person. So, it's not that a devotee first has to go through Gyan, then come to Bhakti. No, he just simply takes up Bhakti. He's taking up hearing and chanting. And he's hearing from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, that is Bhakti. He's chanting the holy name, that's Bhakti, worshipping the Lord, remembering the Lord. All that is Bhakti. Then what happens? He gets knowledge. He realizes the knowledge. The knowledge to understand that he is not matter. He's not the body, he's the soul. And then automatically, because he realizes the knowledge, he gets detached from the material world. So by engaging in devotional service, we can actually realize the knowledge. Automatically it comes in. And then once the more we realize the knowledge, the more we get detached. So as confirmed elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam 127, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayad Ahaitukam. One who engages in unalloyed devotional service to Vasudev, Krishna, automatically becomes aware of this material world, and therefore he is naturally detached. This detachment is possible because of his high standard of knowledge. The speculative philosophers tries to understand that this material world is false by cultivating knowledge. But this understanding is automatically manifested in the person of a devotee without separate endeavor. So Prabhupada here is quoting another verse in Bhagavatam which is saying the same thing, that one engages in devotional service, one can realize the knowledge. One can realize I'm not the body, I'm spirit soul, I'm eternal servant of Krishna. And when he realizes the knowledge, automatically he becomes detached from this material world. No need to separately endeavor to get detachment, no need to separately endeavor to get knowledge. Just do bhakti and you get two in one. Like we do, right? Gadgets, two in one or something like that. The Mayavadi philosophers may be very proud of their so-called knowledge, but because they do not understand Vasudeva Sarvamiti, they do not understand the world of duality, which is the manifestation of Vasudev's external energy. As just now Auntie Rashmi was saying, Bahiranga Shakti, this Maya Devi, she's the Lord's external energy. Therefore, unless the so-called Gyanis take shelter of Vasudeva, their speculative knowledge is imperfect. Because after all, we have to come to understand that Krishna Sarva Karana Karanam, Vasudeva Sarvam Iti, surrender to Krishna, and then take shelter of Krishna, then we can get perfect knowledge. Till the time we don't surrender to Krishna, the knowledge is imperfect. Because one may understand I'm not the body, I'm spirit soul. But one also has to understand about the supreme spirit soul. One may understand I'm Brahman, but one has to understand about Para Brahman, to understand I'm part and parcel of God. Otherwise, it's still incomplete, the knowledge. So they simply think of becoming free from the contamination of the material world. But because they do not take shelter at the lotus feet of Vasudeva, their knowledge is impure. When they actually become pure, they surrender to the lotus feet of Vasudeva. Therefore, the absolute truth is easier to understand for a devotee than for jnanis who simply speculate to understand Vasudeva. Lord Shiva confirms this statement in the following verse. So if we at all want to understand God, we want to understand absolute truth, it's easier by the path of bhakti. Then we can get perfect knowledge. We don't need to make up anything. We don't need to, because the mind is material after all. Yeah. But when we are hearing from the scriptures, from the devotees, then everything becomes easy. So Lord Shiva is saying this in the next verse. Naham richin virincho na kumara narado.
Naharam virincho na kumar narado.
Na brahmaputra munaya sureshaha.
Na brahmaputra munayaha sureshaha.
Vedama yasye hitam amshakam shaka.
Vidam yasya ihitam amshakaha.
Natat swarupam prathak ishamaniнаha.
न तत्स्वरूपं पृथकीशमानिनः.
Neither I, Lord Shiva, nor Brahma, nor the Ashwini Kumaras, nor Narad, or the other great sages who are Brahma's sons, nor even the demigods, can understand the pastimes and personality of the Supreme Lord. Although we are part of the Supreme Lord, we consider ourselves independent, separate controllers, and thus we cannot understand his identity. Brahma Samhita 533 states, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adayam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakta Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, who is the original person. He is absolute, infallible, and beginningless. And although expanded into unlimited forms, he is still the same original person, the oldest person who always appears as a fresh youth. The eternal, blissful, all knowing forms of the Lord cannot be understood even by the best Vedic scholars, but they always manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees. So here, Lord Brahma is saying in Brahma Samhita that how to understand the Supreme Lord from the devotees, the pure devotees, because they can understand the Lord. Lord cannot be understood by the Vedas, those who are very scholarly in the Vedas. He's absolute, he's infallible, beginningless, expanded unlimitedly. Yet he's original, he's Govinda, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And although he's the oldest, he appears so young and fresh. Never looks old, no wrinkles, no white hair, no tension, no stress, no bent shoulders, nothing. He's fresh, looks like a young man. Satchidananda form of the Lord. How to understand? The pure devotee can understand. So Lord Shiva places himself as one of the non-devotees who cannot understand the identity of the Supreme Lord. The Lord being Ananta has an unlimited number of forms. Therefore, how is it possible for an ordinary common man to understand him? Lord Shiva, of course, is above the ordinary human beings, yet is unable to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is not among the ordinary living entities, nor is he in the category of Lord Vishnu. He is between Lord Vishnu and the common living entity. So it is not easy to understand God, but by the mercy of the devotee, we can understand. So Lord Shiva is saying, he's taking the position of a common man. He's saying, like, half a common man, it's not easy to understand. We are thinking we are independent, we have no relation with God. Okay, we may know it theoretically, maybe, but practically, we do things, we think we are the independent controllers. So Lord Shiva is taking our position. Although he is a great Lord, he's not Lord Vishnu. And he's not a Jiva also. He's a Tattva by himself. Lord Shiva, his identity is by himself. He's not Vishnu Tattva. He's not Jiva Tattva. He is a separate identity by himself. So he's a great, great personality. Yet he's saying that I'm not able to understand the Supreme Lord because I'm thinking I'm independent. So, but we can see in the previous verse, Lord Shiva is telling to Pārvatī in Bhagavatam that if anyone wants knowledge, if anyone wants detachment, then one has to engage in devotional service. In the previous verse, that's what we read. So, Nahi asyasti priya
So they're
kaschin.
emphasizing on devotional service, right? They're glorifying and emphasizing more
Yes, devotional service and the devotee.
devotee.
Devotee is glorious because he is engaging in devotional service. So Lord Shiva is glorifying both. the devotee and the devotional service.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Nahi asyasti priya kaschan.
Na hi hasyasti priye kaschit.
Na priya swaparopi va.
Na apriya swaparo api va.
Atmatvat sarva bhutanam.
Atmatvat sarva bhutanam.
Sarva bhuta priyo hari.
Sarva bhuto priyo hari.
He holds no one as very dear and no one as inimical. He has no one for his own relative and no one is alien to him. He is actually the soul of all living entities. Thus, he is the auspicious friend of all living beings and is very near and dear to all of them. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his second feature, is the super soul of all living entities. As one's self is extremely dear, the super self of the self is still more dear. You know why are we so attached to ourselves? Because actually we are attached to Krishna. And because we are part and parcel of Krishna, under this body now we are thinking we are independent of Krishna. Actually, Krishna is the dearest object for any living entity. So no one can be the enemy of the friendly super self who is equal to everyone. Relationships of dearness or enmity between the Supreme Lord and the living beings are due to the intervention of the illusory energy. Because the three modes of material nature intervene between the Lord and the living beings, these different relationships appear. Actually, the living entity in its pure condition is always very near and dear to the Lord, and the Lord is dear to him. There is no question of partiality or enmity. So the Lord is equal to everyone. Even in Bhagavad Gita, he says that. Now, Lord Shiva is saying the same thing. The Lord is equal because everyone is his part and parcel. Everyone is a child of God. So everyone is dear to him, but he does not distinguish, oh, this is my enemy, this is my friend. He's equal. That's how he's in the as Paramatma is in everyone's heart. He's in the heart of the devotee, he's in the heart of the demon. He's not saying I will be only in the heart of the devotee, I will not be in the heart of the demon. No, everyone's heart. He's giving every equal opportunity to everyone. He's maintaining everyone. So he's equal to all. He's the best friend of each and every living entity. Krishna is everyone's best friend. And if we can realize that, then we can become peaceful. That Krishna is the supreme controller, the supreme enjoyer, and the best friend of all living entities. So I think I might have to, actually today I need to wrap up early. So we'll stop here. Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. Yeah. We can stop. Right.
Okay, thank you so
Okay.
much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Joining Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada
Yeah.
ki jai, Gaur
Yeah.
Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Hare